Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Atlanta Braves Baseball. Along with Pete Van Weeren, this is Ernie Johnson speaking to you from the Astrodome in Houston, Texas, where tonight is the Braves against the Astros in the first game of a three-game set. A reminder, the San Francisco Giants are in Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday in Atlanta. Well, Peter, due to the injury to Andres Thomas, kind of a strange lineup tonight.
I think the injury to Andres Thomas and the fact that the Braves scored very few runs in San Francisco have caused Chuck Tanner to shake things up a little bit. Albert Hall gets his first start of the season tonight. Greg Nettles gets his first start of the season tonight, even though a left-hander is pitching. Rafael Ramirez takes over for the injured Andres Thomas at short, and we'll see if this lineup can score some runs against Bob Knepper, who's a very good pitcher.
We'll be back with the starting lineups right after this message. All right, the meeting at home plate is broken up. Pete Van Weeren has the starting lineups.
Thank you, Ernie. And here's the way the Braves will look tonight. A different look to their batting order. Albert Hall leading off and playing center field. Rafael Ramirez at shortstop batting second. Gary Renicky gets the start in left field against the left-hander. Dale Murphy in his customary fourth spot in right field. Ted Simmons will be over at first base tonight batting fifth. Greg Nettles starts for the first time this year at third base. He will bat sixth. Bruce Benedict handles the catching, hitting seventh. The number 8 hitter will be Glenn Hubbard at second base, and on the mound, left-hander Zane Smith with a record of 1 win and 1 loss. For Houston, Bill Doran will lead it off. He'll be at second base. Billy Hatcher, the hottest hitter in the league, will be batting second and playing center field. Phil Garner will hit third and play third. The cleanup hitter, the first baseman, Glenn Davis. Kevin Bass will bat fifth and play right field. Jose Cruz hits in the number 6 spot. He'll be in left field. The catcher is Alan Ashby batting seventh. Bert Pena will be at shortstop hitting eighth. And the pitcher batting ninth, left-hander Bob Knepper, off to a little bit of a shaky start this year, a record of 1-1, an ERA though up there at 5.28. The umpires for tonight's game, Dick Stella will be calling the balls and strikes. Eric Gregg works at first, Jerry Davis at second, and Doug Harvey will be over at third. The Braves, losing their last 2 games to the San Francisco Giants, now have a record of 6-5. They are in 4th place in the National League West, 3.5 games behind the division-leading Giants. Houston has a record of 8-5. They are in 3rd place, 2.5 games behind the Giants and 1 full game ahead of Atlanta. There's a look at the Houston defense. Cruz, Hatcher, and Bass in the outfield. Garner, Pena, Doran, and Davis around the infield. The catcher, Alan Ashby, and the veteran left-hander, Bob Knepper, on the mound. Knepper with a lifetime record of 115 wins, 119 losses. He is 12-8 lifetime against Atlanta. It'll be Albert Hall, Rafael Ramirez, and Gary Renicky leading it off for the Braves here in the top half of the first inning. And to tell you all about it, and by the way, we're glad to have you back, Ernie Johnson.
Thank you, Peter. Glad to be back and happy to report that our daughter Dawn, who is still hospitalized in Illinois, is slowly getting better. And that makes everyone, of course, in our family and her friends a lot happier. Albert Hall will lead it off. No batting average this year. This is his first start. In other games, and we'll keep you posted all night long, New York leading Pittsburgh 6-2. They're in the 5th. And, of course, that very important game in Chicago where the White Sox lead Milwaukee 1-0 in the 2nd inning. The Brewers going for their 14th straight win to start a season. That would be a new Major League record. Knepper will see a lot of right-handed batters here today. Albert Hall's a switch hitter. Simmons is a switch hitter. Nettles, the only left-handed batter in the lineup. And here's the pitch. We're underway. Driven in a right center field base hit. Albert Hall, who can run. The ball will be picked up by the center fielder, but Hall has a double. Hatcher got over there. Ball didn't get through, but Albert Hall, who stole 72 bases last year, shows you some speed.
He probably has the best speed in the ball club, and as soon as that ball was not fielded cleanly by Kevin Bass, coming over to try to cut it off in the gap, he had himself a double. Good start for Atlanta. Tonight, by the way, we would like to welcome all the viewers in the Houston market who are watching our WTBS telecast on Home Sports Entertainment.
Here's Rafael Ramirez filling in at short. He'll try to hit the ball to the right side. Renicky's on deck. I mentioned 72 stolen bases for Hall last year at Richmond. 1 season in the minor leagues at Durham in 1980, Albert Hall stole 100 bases. The curveball inside. as much as we mentioned that Ramirez will try to go to right, Knepper's got his own ideas. He'll try to keep the ball inside, especially with his curveball down and in. They like it. That's outside, and that'll get the runner to third. Nice play by Knepper as Ashby gave him directions, but at third base now is Albert Hall, just as good as a sacrifice. Ramirez trying to go on that right side, dribbled it out in front. Now Renicky. Knepper has won his last 3 starts against the Braves, and he has a total of 16 consecutive scoreless innings dating back to last year, and that could be snapped right here in the first. Hall off third. I believe he went. Yes, he did. They asked for Eric Gregg's help, and Big Daddy says yes.
I don't think there was much question about this one. The plate umpires sometimes will call one as obvious as that, but Dick Stella wanted to be sure and check with Eric Gregg.
Murphy on deck, 1 out, 1 on, the runner at third. Tried to jam him. Renicky's had a couple of good years in the major leagues. In the American League back in '82, he had 21 homers and 74 RBIs for the Orioles. In '79, he had 25 homers for Baltimore. So he's got some power. He'd like a pitch up. He doesn't like that one. You get the pitch up, you can get the fly ball. Willie Stargell coaching first, and Russ Nixon at third. 2 balls and a strike. They would give the run if they could get an out over to short or second. That's drilled to left. Should score the run. Cruz with a catch, and Hall will score easily. It's 1-0 Atlanta on a sac fly by Gary Renicky. So the streak is broken. Give Renicky a sac fly, even though it was a line drive, and an RBI. Dale Murphy at .318, a couple of homers and 6 RBIs. You can see the numbers. Knepper, who started his career with the San Francisco Giants. And the pitch. A little pop along the right field foul line. He gets jammed, and it's going to be out of play. 1-1. Knepper was selected by the Giants in the 2nd round of the free agent draft, June of '72. He's 32 years old. Ashby with a sign. Knepper doesn't like it. It's 400 at dead center here, and in the alley 378, and to the poles it's 330 feet. 1-1. Missed inside. As you watch Bob Knepper pitch here tonight, you're looking at a guy that appears that he could throw the baseball all day long. Very easy motion, but he gets enough on it. That's drilled to right center field. I don't know if anybody can catch up. It is going to be out of here. Home run, Dale Murphy. He hit it over the 378-foot mark. A line drive for Murphy's 3rd homer. Basket back there wanted to play the carom, but it went over. 2-0 Atlanta.
Well, this is not the first time that Bob Knepper has given up a home run to Dale Murphy. It's the 7th career home run that Dale Murphy has hit off of Bob Knepper. And Knepper made a pretty good pitch there. A breaking ball down and away, and Murph just went out and got it and drilled it to right center. 2-0 Atlanta.
Now Ted Simmons playing first today. 1-2 on this trip. They're 6-5 overall. Simmons, switch hitter, and Knepper's pitch to him is a slow curve, missing. That didn't. 1 ball, 1 strike. And the 1-1 pitch is a broken bat grounder to short. That is Pena, who will throw him out for out number 3. But 2 big runs, top of the first. Houston coming to bat. There you see the Braves defensively behind Zane Smith. Well, I didn't see Smith pitch that beauty in San Francisco. He must have had something, boy.
Well, Chuck Tanner said that he wanted Zane Smith to throw his breaking ball a little more. He wanted him to concentrate a little more, try to think a little more about what he wanted to do with each pitch. And what Bruce Delcanton is doing now with Zane Smith, while Zane Smith warms up in the bullpen before a start, Bruce Delcanton stands alongside him and sets up situations. Says, let's throw a 2-1 curveball, try for the outside corner, hoping that that kind of thinking warming up before a game will carry into a game. And it obviously worked against the Giants on Friday night.
Bill Dorn leads it off. His batting average is low. He's a much better hitter than .226. The outfield just about straight away. Dorn's a switch hitter. Here's a pitch to him. And the fastball missed outside. 1-0. You know, many times a fan will say, well, so-and-so played at Valdosta, and now he's in the major leagues. Why didn't the Braves get him? The 1-0. Bouncer. Nettles going to his left. Has got it and throws a little high, but Simmons handled that ball very well at first. 1 down. I mentioned the major league team just can't get everybody that's in the area. For instance, Bill Dorn played outstanding high school baseball in Cincinnati. Reds didn't get him. It happens in just about every major league city. You can't get them all. Big hand for Hatcher, who's got a 13-game hitting streak in the pitch. Bounce foul. With that 13-game hitting streak, you can imagine what he's batting, .481. And Hatcher used to play with the Cubs. That was a good trade for Houston. Mumphrey went up to Chicago. He's a good player, too. I think Hatcher has probably done more for Houston. Couple of homers, 10 RBIs for the Astro outfielder. Also, when you watch Smith tonight, he opens up nicely. He does not pitch across his body. He likes to work the outside corner with that fastball to right-handed batters. Not any fancy pitches. Occasional changeup. That's driven to right center. Murphy's going to catch it, however, for out number 2. That ball is hit right on the button by Hatcher, but Murphy caught it. They had him positioned well. Fastball curve, probably a slider from Smith. Occasional changeup. But his fastball's got some tail on it. It moves away from the right-handed batter.
There's his career record, 3-3 against Houston. He got his first major league win right here in the Astrodome. Beat Nolan Ryan 2 years ago.
Here's Phil Garner. This guy is quite a competitor. Garner at 297. Can play third or second. Played in the American League and the National. Just missing. Well, the White Sox trying to keep it at 13 straight wins. Milwaukee, though, has had some spectacular games in that streak. That game is not over yet. 2 balls, 1 strike. The Brewers trailed in one game Saturday by 4 runs, or 3. Scored 4 in the bottom of the 9th to win. That's hit hard, but right at Hubbard, who goes to one knee. That'll do it. Bottom of the first. 1, 2, 3 for Smith. We go to the second. 2-0 Atlanta.
telecast is authorized under broadcasting rights granted by the Atlanta Braves. It's intended solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game in whole or in part without the express written consent of the Atlanta Braves and the Turner Broadcasting System is prohibited.
Nettles takes a curveball in there. He started off with the curve because everyone knows that Nettles likes to hit the first pitch, what they call a first ball hitter. Here's the 0-1. Breaking ball, I don't think he wins. 1 ball, 1 strike. Nettles had a pinch hit home run at San Francisco. A 2-run shot to tie it. The Braves later lost it. The 1-1. Curveball, 1-2. Nettles has 385 career homers. And the 1-2 delivery hit hard, but right at Doran. That'll be 1 out. Second or first on Nettles. Now Bruce Benedict. I mentioned the Brewers in their 13-game winning streak have had some spectacular things happen. Juan Nieves had a no-hitter, of all things, in the streak. Rob Deere is batting .429 with 7 homers and 17 RBI. And he went to spring training with Milwaukee in '86 as a non-roster player. The Giants gave up on him. Pitch to Benedict. Inside, they won 1 game against the Red Sox in 12 innings, 12-11. And I mentioned they scored 4 runs in the bottom of the 9th Saturday to win. Knepper's pitch. Strike. And you know, Pete, when the Braves won their 13, they had a lot of dramatic come from behind. Remember?
I don't think it's possible to win as many as 13 games in a row at the beginning of the season or any other time of the season without having some pretty miraculous things happen during that stretch.
Curve low inside. I don't know what game it was, but part of the streak was right here,
right
at the Astrodome, and we announced to the people that, look, if any team deserved a little welcome home, and the fans turn out in Atlanta. Hit hard but foul. Look out in the seats. We had thousands at the airport.
And that's going on in Milwaukee now, too. Their fans are responding in the same way, and you can certainly understand it. There's nothing quite as exciting as a long winning streak by a baseball team.
I think 10,000 went from Milwaukee to Chicago last night for the game, and they probably got the same number tonight. Benedict hitting the ball foul again. 2 balls and 2 strikes. One out. Here it is. Fly ball right. Dash to catch it. And it is. The batter, Glenn Hubbard, with 2 away. Cubs and Cardinals scoreless in the 2nd. Later tonight, Cincinnati at San Diego, and the Giants host the Dodgers. In the American League, Roger Clemens, who is 0-2 this year, leading Kansas City 3-0 in the 3rd at Fenway Park, Boston. Cleveland had a Toronto 3-0 in the 5th. Hubbard takes high. Tigers won Yankees nothing in the 6th. And we gave you White Sox 4, Milwaukee nothing, bottom of the 3rd. Minnesota 3-0 over Seattle, also in the 3rd. Fastball shooting away from Hubbard. And the 2-0. Loop towards center. Has got a chance. In for a base hit. Little soft single to center by Glenn Hubbard. That's hit number 3. Off Bob Knepper. If you just tuned us in the 1st inning, Hall led off with the double. Ramirez grounded out. Hall to 3rd. Renicky a sac fly for run number 1. And then Murphy a home run to right center for run number 2. If nothing else, the single by Hubbard gets Smith up in this inning. Little pop that, let's see, I'll play, yes, just a few runs. Pete Van Weeren and Ernie Johnson with you. Braves baseball from Houston. Skip Carey and Jim Cott will be over in the middle of the 5th. They're doing radio. Soft liner, caught by the third track of Phil Garner. The Braves get a base hit, but Strand Hubbard, we go to the bottom of the 2nd. 2-0 Atlanta.
NBA playoff action begins with a big doubleheader on the Superstation Thursday night at 8 Eastern Time. Chicago and Boston, game 1 of their series, followed by Denver, LA, game 1 of their series. The Braves Astros game on a tape delay basis will follow the Nuggets Lakers game. So a big sports tripleheader as NBA playoff action begins. And on Friday night, Washington plays at Detroit in their first game, Houston at Portland in their first game, preceded by the Braves Giants game at 5:35.
Glenn Davis, the batter, hits it up the middle. Hubbard knocks it down. He might be able to, and he does. Hubbard knocked it down and threw him out. Davis isn't squawking. The fans are booing, but he was just out. A good call by Eric Gregg.
Ball was hit so sharply that even though Hubbard wasn't able to field it cleanly, he was still able to recover and throw him out. Hubby has those quick hands. Won't take him long to get rid of the ball, and he gets Davis by about a quarter of a step. Good play.
Now Kevin Bass. One away. And the curve is low. Bass had a super year in '86. Hits the ball foul. He's a switch hitter. Last year batted .311. 20 homers and 79 RBI. He'll be followed by Jose Cruz. The 1-1 pitch is a little bit off the corner and high, 2-1. That's a good shot right here of all the action at home plate. That's with our center field camera. The curveball is in there. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Another curve hit out to short. Ramirez to first. 2 down.
In the game Friday night against San Francisco, Zane Smith got something like 17 outs on groundouts and strikeouts. When he's effective, he gets a lot of ground balls, and it's encouraging to see him start this game, retiring the first 5 hitters, 4 in infield grounders.
The batter, Jose Cruz. Red Sox increase their lead over Kansas City 5-zip in the 4th. Foul away. No balls, 1 strike. That's well hit. Albert Hall on his horse. Can't make it. Cruz with a stand-up double. Cruz, who was the player of the week the first week of the baseball season, in a little bit of a slump, starting to come out of it now. He's 1 for 1 with a double.
Like Deion James, Albert Hall, because of his speed, plays a fairly shallow center field. Almost, but not quite, able to get to that ball. And Cruz is down at second.
Here's Alan Ashby. That's the first hit off Smith, but they've hit the ball hard on a couple of other occasions. But Adam. Strike call. Smith with a chance to get out of this and keep it at 2-0. Ashby's a switch hitter. He would be followed by Pena. Smith would like to see Pena in the 3rd. You always like to start off an inning if you can, pitching to the 8-hitter, then the pitcher, and the leadoff man. should have an easy inning. No balls, 2 strikes. Cruz at second. Curve hit toward right center. He hit an 0-2 pitch. A run in.
With the count 0-2, many times a pitcher will waste one trying to get a hitter to chase something bad. Looks like that's what Smith was trying to do. He threw him a curveball down and away, and Ashby was still able to get good wood on it and drill it into right field. Cruz scoring. It's a 2-1 ball game.
Pena, the batter, foul away. I'm sure Benedict wanted that curveball in the dirt or close to it. It was too high for an 0-2. And Ashby, as they do up here, hit a mistake. No balls, 1 strike. Fastball outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Braves see their lead cut in half. It's 2-1 now. Off the hands to third. Handles to Hubbard. And the pitcher will lead off in the third. But the Astros get a run. We go to the third, 2-1, Atlanta. It's the top of the third and the top of the order. Albert Hall, who doubled and scored in the first, will lead it off. He'll be followed by Rafael Ramirez. Remember, the Giants are in town. A little unusual, 4 games. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Then the Braves go off to Cincinnati. But a great homestand coming up against Houston, Montreal, and the New York Mets. First long stand. There's a bunt to the mound. Ball is out. He tried to get it by Nepper over towards second. If he did that, probably would have reached, but he bunted it right back to the mound. 1 down on a 1-3 play. Now Ramirez, who's 0 for 1 with a ground out. Slow curve. They're now in the bottom of the 4th. The White Sox 4, Milwaukee nothing. Jerry Royster was quoted in Chicago today. He plays for the White Sox. He said, I don't want them to win. He said, I want to still be a part of history. He was on that 82 team of Atlanta Braves. And they all feel that way. The members of the Atlanta Braves, I should say, who were there. The 0-2. Inside, 1-2.
Yeah, a couple of comments I overheard. Bruce Benedict saying, I don't mind if they tie it. I just don't want them to break it. Glenn Hubbard feels the same way.
Just unique. It's the Milwaukee Brewers and the Atlanta Braves, who used to be the Milwaukee Braves. Tied at 13. Two and 2. Little pop. Can Hatcher catch up? It bounces around out there, and Ramirez is in the second. Probably be a double. I think Doran had it hit his glove and bounce away. It is a double.
Hatcher was coming in from center field. Doran going back from second base. The ball not hit that high. Doran will get a glove on the ball, but is unable to hold on. And then it bounces behind Hatcher in center field. And Ramirez is able to go all the way to second. They do score in a double.
Now Gary Renicky with a sac fly and an RBI in the first. Ramirez at second with a pop fly double. Murphy on deck. Only 1 down. Mike Schmidt on his way to 600 home runs. He's got to 5. He's one of the leaders. He is not homered today. The Phillies, one of two teams not scheduled. They've got him on the leaderboard, however. Schmidt, Daniels, and Strawberry lead the National League in homers. But what a thrill for Mike Schmidt. His only regret, he didn't do it in Philadelphia. Two balls, no strikes. Outside corner, 2-1. I think Schmidt's going to play. He says he won't take a cut, but he's going to make so much money if he has a good year next year that I don't know how he can not play.
It'll be a pretty good contract.
Yes. Makes over $2 million this year. Bounce to third. Tough play, Garner. Long throw. In time. Now Murphy. Let's see if they pitch to him. I don't believe they will. Would you, with the base open?
Not if you've hit 7 home runs off of you in the career, which he has now off of Bob Knepper.
So Murphy will be intentionally fast.
Ooh, that first one almost got away.
One of the reasons baseball purists say we just can't say take first base without throwing a pitch. A lot of people have felt, well, just tell them to take first and don't throw that pitch. We've seen batters hit them for base hits. We've seen balls thrown to the screen on intentional walk. And we've seen balks called. The catcher is supposed to stay in his position until the ball leaves the pitcher's hands. They cheat a little bit. Now Simmons with runners at first and second. Simmons has quietly gone about the business of having a good major league career. He has 2,404 career hits and 242 career homers. Well hit left center. Cruz will catch it. Simmons flies to deep left center. The Braves strand 2. We go to the bottom half of inning number 3, up by a run.
This portion of Braves baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by the heartbeat of America, today's Chevy trucks.
Lead it by a score of 2-1. We go to the bottom of the third. Knepper the batter, and here's Pete.
Thank you, Ernie. Knepper at .250 this year. No homers or RBIs. Just a .134 lifetime batting average, but he does have 5 home runs. He is capable of hitting one out if he gets a hold of one.
A lot of people are. Rafael Santana hit one for the Mets.
Find that a little hard to believe. Mets are leading Pittsburgh 7-2 that game in the top half of the 8th inning in Pittsburgh.
This portion of Braves baseball is...
The 1-0 pitch grounded down the first base side. Foul. 1 ball, 1 strike.
White Sox got another run. 5-0 in the 4th, bottom half against Milwaukee.
Paul Mirabella has replaced Mark Ciardi on the mound for Milwaukee in that game. Joel Davis pitching for Chicago. 2-1 now on Bob Knepper. 2 runs, 4 hits for Atlanta. 1 run, 2 hits for the Astros. We're in the bottom of the 3rd. That evens the count 2-2. Tomorrow night it'll be David Palmer for Atlanta. Jim DeShays gets his first start of the year for Houston. He'll be replacing Nolan Ryan, who has a hamstring problem. And that's all for Mr. Knepper as Zane Smith records his first strikeout. 1 away.
His fastball had a little zip up and in. Little leagues, big leagues, strikeout. Great pitch.
Back now to the top of the order, Bill Doran, who grounded out to third his first time up. Nolan Ryan, for you Houston fans watching, is progressing quite well. He's scheduled now to start on Saturday for the Astros. They're going to hold him back just a few days. The hamstring just about ready, but not quite before tomorrow night. So Jim DeShays will start the game in his place. 0-1 the count on Bill Doran. Then on Thursday night, it'll be Rick Mailer seeking his third win against Danny Darwin. One ball, one strike. The Braves, by the way, for those of you who may have missed it in the newspaper, have purchased the contract of infielder Mike Fischlin from Richmond to replace Andres Thomas. Fischlin reported today he's in uniform tonight. Andres Thomas suffered a very severely sprained ankle. At first they were hoping he'd be back in just a few days, but after being examined by a doctor here in Houston yesterday, it looks that Thomas may now miss anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. Right to the second baseman, Glenn Hubbard, and that is out number 2. Now center fielder Billy Hatcher, who has that 13-game hitting streak. He's hit safely in every game played by the Astros so far this year. And he hit the ball hard in the first inning, a line drive that was caught by Dale Murphy in right center. Two outs, bases empty. Good fastball, 0-1. The defense just about straight away for Hatcher. Way out in front of a curveball, 0-2. Once again tonight, Zane Smith doing what he has to do and what really every pitcher has to do to win. Stay ahead of the hitters. He didn't walk a single batter in his shutout against San Francisco Friday night, and his control's been good again tonight. Here's the 0-2. Curve is low.
If you are behind the hitter constantly, well, then he's hitting his pitch. If you're ahead of him, he's got to hit your pitch. And there's a well of a lot of difference.
Now the 1-2 on the way to Billy Hatcher. He started to go. They'll check with Eric Gregg at first. No swing, says Eric. 2-2 the count. And the 2-2 got him on a curveball. A 1-2-3 inning for Zane Smith as he records his first 2 strikeouts of the night. We've completed 3 in the Astrodome. It's Atlanta 2, Houston 1. We go to the top half of the 4th inning. Braves leading it 2-1. It'll be Greg Nettles, Bruce Benedict, and Glenn Hubbard due up against Bob Knepper. Nettles is 0 for 1. He grounded out to second his first time up.
Come on, Pete, you got to tell him that line yesterday while you were playing golf with Nettles.
Yeah, on the off day, we had about 3 foursomes go out to Sweetwater Country Club here in the Houston area to play golf, and I happened to be in Greg Nettles' foursome. He's a very good player. Hits him right-handed, by the way, in the golf course. He also has some pretty good lines. Look out. That almost picked off one of the cameramen. 0-1. I hit a ball not too well off the tee right up into the sun and lost it, and I said, I don't even see that one. And Greg said, don't worry, you're not missing much. Blown outside with a breaking ball, 1-1.
You know, a lot of baseball players do what Nettles did, turn around and hit them right-handed when they play golf.
Yeah, that surprised me. He's a very good player. He's got about a 7 handicap.
Yeah. Duke Snyder was one. He became a right-handed golfer.
Curve for a strike, 1-2.
Didn't Cott, too? Jim Cott?
Yeah, who was a total lefty, both threw and batted left-handed. When he played, he plays golf right-handed.
You say he's about our class, long and crooked?
We can play with Jim.
Okay.
Here's the 1-2. Fly ball down the right side. It's hooking foul. And will land up in the seats. Count remains a ball and 2 strikes. Here's the 1-2, grounded toward second. Easy chance for Bill Doran. 1 down. Now Now the catcher, Bruce Benedict, who flied to right his first time. There's an update on that Milwaukee-Chicago game. It's in the going now to the top half of the 5th inning. Still 5-0 Chicago. Joel Davis now pitching against Paul Mirabella, who replaced Mark Ciardi. Here it's 2-1 Atlanta. We're in the 4th inning. A ball and no strikes on Benedict. High in the air down the left field line. Let's see if it stays in play for Jose Cruz. It will in foul territory. 2 down. Now Glenn Hubbard, who's singled back in the 2nd inning. He's now hit safely in 5 straight games and just continues to get on base. He's been to the plate 46 times now this season. Has been on base 27 times out of 46. 13 hits, 11 walks. He's been hit by a pitch twice, and he reached once on an error. Right to the shortstop, Pena. Easy inning for Bob Nepper. 1-2-3 for Atlanta. We go to the bottom of the 4th. It's still a 2-1 Atlanta lead. Glenn Davis and Kevin Bass due up for Houston. Garner grounded out to 2nd in the 1st inning. We have commented several times on our early season broadcast about the number of injuries that have taken place already in the major leagues. We have another one to report tonight. Hopefully not serious, but we'll pass it along for what it's worth as Garner fouls one off. In the game between the Tigers and the Yankees, Joe Niekro on the mound for New York tonight was hit on the left wrist by a line drive off the bat of John Grubb and had to leave the game. The Yankees are leading that game 3-1. They're now in the 8th inning. Right back to Smith. Good play. And Garner is thrown out. But you can look at just about every team in the major leagues and you'll find one important player on that team on the disabled list.
A lot of them serious, too. You know, 4 to 6 weeks. The Braves really going to miss Thomas.
John Tudor out for 3 months.
Yeah.
At least 3 months for the Cardinals with that broken bone in his knee on that freaky injury.
Then some questioning the catcher sliding into the dugout. He didn't get to play very much. He was just being aggressive, trying to make a catch. In fact, Davey Johnson said he didn't want to go over there because he thought his catcher might knock him out of there. He thought he was going to be really hurt. Because we've said it often, when you go into the other team's dugout, you very seldom get any help.
Glenn Davis, who grounded out to 2nd his first time, retired on the fly ball to Albert Hall. Here in the bottom of the 4th, 2 away. 6 in a row set down now by Zane Smith. And the batter is Kevin Bass, who grounded out to short his first time up. This Houston ball club, Nolan Ryan with a hamstring, although he's going to try to pitch again on Saturday. Mike Scott had to leave a game Sunday when he had some muscle spasms in his back. Looks like he'll be all right. Downstairs, ball 1 to Bass. Two outs, 4th inning. Into right field, Murphy on the run. Can he get to it? Yes. It's a 1-2-3 inning again for Zane Smith. Nothing doing for the Astros in the 4th. We go to the 5th. Score remaining. Atlanta 2, Houston 1. We go to the top half of the 5th inning. Braves on top by a run. Zane Smith, Albert Hall, and Rafael Ramirez due up against Bob Nepper. Smith lined out to Phil Garner at 3rd his first time up. Trying to butt his way on, missed it, 0-1. Pirates have come back in that game against the New York Mets. It's now 7-6 New York. They're in the 7th inning.
Bullpen sprung a leak for New York. Had to.
High in the air, shallow right field. Bill Doran drifting back, and he'll take it for out number 1. Now Albert Hall, who opened the game with a double, came around to score Atlanta's first run. In the third inning, trying to bunt his way on, he was thrown out pitcher to first. Got a note here from some viewers in Huntsville, Alabama, wanting to know what it says on the tomahawk on the Braves uniform. Doesn't say anything. That's just a little design. Ball 1, the count on Hall. They must be referring to the little gold portion there. But that's just some trimming. 1 ball, 1 strike on Albert Hall. We also received a call from some fans, Ed and Deborah Steffen, watching from St. Croix in the Virgin Islands, rooting for the Braves. A ball and a strike, the count on Hall with 1 out. Two and 1. Seeking his second win of the season, trailing by a run at the moment. That's out of play. Count goes to 2-2 on Albert Hall. He's in the starting lineup for the first time tonight. Deion James, up until tonight, had played every game in center field and had been the leadoff hitter in each of the Braves' first 11 games. But against the left-hander, Hall gets the start tonight. Still 2-2 on Hall. And again, the 2-2 from Nepper. Breaking ball missing, 3-2. Nepper's only walk was an intentional one to Dale Murphy back in the third. Popped him up. Bill Doran will handle this one. 2 down. Now Rafael Ramirez, who was thrown out pitcher to first in the first, and then blooped a double into center field in the third. Nepper with a good off-speed breaking ball. Ahead in the count, 0-1. Al Lanier, manager of the year in the National League last year for what he did with the Astros, guiding them to a Western Division title and almost to a World Series. Here comes the 1-1. Fly ball down the right field line, slicing toward foul territory, and it's just foul. So it's a ball and 2 strikes now. Rafael Ramirez.
Hal Lanier was our guest on the leadoff man on radio, and I asked him about perhaps mentioning during spring training that not too many teams repeat in the West. And he said, well, or the East. He said, I don't like to be negative, but I told him a couple of times that it's not that easy. And he knows that I think the Western Division this year is as strong as I've seen it in some time.
It is. That Cincinnati ball club and that San Francisco ball club off to tremendous starts. Fly ball straight away center. Billy Hatcher back about a half dozen steps. He's got it. And that's all for Atlanta in the 5th. A 1-2-3 inning for Nepper. Skip Carey and Jim Cott will be along to take you the rest of the way on Braves TV. We go to the bottom half of the 5th. Braves lead it 2-1.
Well, hi, everybody. Jim Cott along with Skip Carey to carry you along here in the bottom of the 5th with Zane Smith and the Atlanta Braves in front 2-1. And And Smith with a good fastball to Cruz for strike one. Just outside to even the count. Cruz, the popular veteran left fielder, doubled back in the second inning and scored on Alan Ashby's single. Outside corner, strike two.
St. Louis Cardinals back in 1974 got only a little money when they dealt him over here. They must cringe about that little decision every time they see him play.
Grounded towards second. Tough play for Hubbard. And base hit. Couldn't get the ball out of his glove.
I don't think he throws him out anyway. They're going to score at a hit, and if I were the scorer, I would too. Hubbard has to come a long way. Cruz can really run. Well, I don't know. Now you look at it from that angle, maybe he could have, but they give him a hit. I don't think you can fault it.
It's one of those plays where an infielder has to make a quick decision. Do I try to barehand that ball, which some do off turf? So Cruz aboard with the Astros' third hit. There's a drive straight away center field. And Hall is there to put Ashby away for out number one.
Well, the ball really dies here, doesn't it? You can hit it out, but for the most part, unless you really hit it clean, it just sort of fades.
If you're a hitter, it dies, and if you're a pitcher, you say, man, the ball is really carrying in the Astrodome in recent years.
Come on.
Here's Bert Pena. Grounded out in his only plate appearance and slices Smith's first pitch out of play. With left-hander Smith starting, Bert Pena gets a rare start. Craig Reynolds would normally be in the lineup, and manager Hal Lanier did say today that Dickie Thon has reported and is playing at Tucson and making some progress. Here's the 0-1, but instead a quick toss over to Simmons.
Excuse me, Jim. I think last night was his first game, and he went 0 for 3, but they're encouraged that he's now, back in business.
Just missed the outside corner. You notice Smith paying close attention to Jose Cruz. And I'll tell you, for 40 years old, being an everyday player, you won't find one much better than Jose Cruz. Ball and a strike. Tried to go to right field, fouls it off. 1-2.
When the Braves come home to play the Giants at 5:40, the first 25,000 fans with a reserve seat ticket will receive a Braves calendar. Compliments of Oscar Mayer. There's more, and we'll fill you in on that as we go along here.
Okay. Breaking ball, slice, hit toward third. Fine play by Nettles, but he can't get him at second base.
This is a Greg Nettles play of yore, boy. He makes a super play with a hanging curveball. And he's running away from the play, and darn near gets a very fast runner at second. His throw just a little off line, but that's a fine play nonetheless.
Of course, that's the patented Nettles throw. He is never known as having a strong arm, but always that quick release and ability to throw the ball accurately even while off balance. So now with one out and runners at first and second, the Braves will be looking for the bunt from pitcher Bob Nepper. Back toward the mound, Smith checks third and then decides to take the sure out at first base. And that'll advance Cruz and Pena to second and third.
Time the Braves had a very interesting play on. Nettles bluffed like he was going to charge from third, but before the ball was bunted, he had turned and was retreating toward third base. So Zane Smith's job was to handle everything hit back toward the mound and down the third baseline.
So the Astros now have the tying and lead run in scoring position. And leadoff man Billy Doran. Doran 0 for 2 in tonight's ball game. Grounded out to Nettles in the first and to Hubbard in the third. Breaking ball up a little high, ball 1. Doran leading the Astros in home runs with 3. Another breaking ball high. And the Astrodome scoreboard here says that Red Sox pitcher Roger Clemens must be back on track. He's got a no-no through 6. There's Cruz at third. And Pena at second. 2-0 to Doran. Just misses the outside corner. And Smith falls behind Doran 3-0 with the leading hitter Billy Hatcher. Chuck Tanner offering some encouragement in the Brave dugout. Hatcher on deck.
Not showing him up, but Bruce Benedict all over Dick Stello after that pitch. They thought they had a strike.
That's in there for strike 1. There you see Doran's career numbers against Zane Smith. And now the left-hander backs off and rechecks the sign with Bruce Benedict. A little high, and he loses him. And for the first time in a game and a half, Zane Smith has put a base runner on by way of a base on balls, and that'll bring pitching coach Bruce Dow Canton out of the Brave dugout.
And it'll bring the hottest hitter in the league, Billy Hatcher, to the plate. He's lined to right and struck out in this game.
You see the smile on Bruce Dow Canton's face, Skip. I think it's been a smooth transition for the Brave pitching staff, bringing up Bruce with Johnny Sane being moved into scouting duties early in the year. A lot of the pitchers are familiar with Dow Canton from minor league days and spring training. Very comfortable with what he has to offer as a pitching coach. So here's Hatcher with the sacks jammed here in the bottom of the 5th. And he fouls the first pitch out of play. Strike 1. Well, after Smith worked rather carefully to Doran and only got 1 pitch in the strike zone, Hatcher went to Hackett on the first one. Another off-speed pitch, and he rips this one toward the Brave dugout. You see Rick Mailer, Gerald Perry ducking out of sight. They have that railing protecting the players along the third base dugout right now, but several years ago that was wide open spaces. You were fair game in that third base dugout. Two to Hatcher with 2 out here in the bottom of the 5th. Got him with the breaking ball, and Zane Smith works out of a bases loaded jam to preserve that 2-1 lead after 5. As we get another look at that good breaking ball, the Braves lead it 2-1. Renicky steps in against veteran Bob Nepper here to lead off the 6th for the Braves. Some job by Zane Smith in the bottom of the 5th, getting Billy Hatcher with the sacks jammed. Fly ball left field. Cruz coming on. He'll have plenty of room. And Renicky is out here for out number 1 in the top of the 6th. Both pitchers, as Zane Smith showed us last Friday in San Francisco, working with a good quick tempo, for the most part getting ahead of the hitters, and usually under those conditions the fielders respond with excellent defensive plays. Here's Murphy. Inside corner, strike 1. Murphy, after a 2-year dry spell against Bob Nepper, hit his 3rd home run of the year in the 1st inning. Down low, 1-1. Misses again with a breaking ball. 2 balls and a strike. The White Sox appear to be on their way to ending the dream for the Milwaukee Brewers. 5-0 in the 6th. Curve ball fouled outside of 3rd base. And that evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. We mentioned prior to 1985, Murphy owned Bob Knepper, 23 for 47 with 6 home runs. But suddenly the last 2 years, he's 3 for 19 with no home runs. Yet Knepper says he continues to pitch him the same way. Law of averages. There's a broken bat. Fly ball into left field, and that'll fall in for a base hit. And Murphy perfect on the night with 2 hits and a base on balls. Simmons 0 for 2, just missed a home run with 2 men on his last at bat. Fly deep to left center field. Little token toss over to first base. Fouled outside of play.
Looked like he took a little shot at right field that time, didn't he?
He did, and that's the advantage of having a veteran hitter like Ted Simmons in this situation. He's got the power to pull the ball, but he can play situation baseball. Knows also that Knepper, with that good sinker, is going to try to keep the ball down and away from him in a double play situation. Misses inside, a ball and a strike. Simmons getting a rare start. Chuck Tanner with only 2 members of tonight's starting lineup. That started Sunday's game in San Francisco. Dale Murphy and Glenn Hubbard. Another toss over to first. Shot just outside of the 3rd base bag. Teddy's shaking his head there. He thought he should have nailed that pitch. It was a breaking ball up in the strike zone. At first, with 1 down here in the top of the 6th. 1-2 to Simmons. Got him with a breaking ball.
Good curveball there, and with it, Knepper records his first strikeout. Simmons had a pretty good cut.
Brings up 3rd baseman Greg Nettles, playing in place of Ken Oberkfell in tonight's ball game. Nettles 0 for 2. Takes the breaking ball to left field, and Nettles is on with his first hit of the ball game. So as you mentioned, Skip, Ted Simmons in his at-bat trying to take a shot to right. Nettles, after being fooled on the curveball from Knepper in his first 2 at-bats, took that breaking ball to the opposite field for the base hit.
we mentioned on radio, I think it bears repeating here, if either Ozzie Virgil or tonight's catcher Bruce Benedict, if either one of them can do anything, they're going to win the starting job. Because neither has accomplished anything so far this year offensively.
First pitch high to Benedict, ball one, and in tonight's ball game, Bruce flied to right and has flied out to left, so he's 0 for 2. The Braves with Murphy at second and Nettles at first with 2 down here in the top of the 6th. Breaking ball low and inside, and Nepper falls behind 2-0. You know he's certainly not trying to pitch around Bruce Benedict with Glenn Hubbard in the on-deck circle. Hubbard, the National League leader in on-base percentage. There's your runners. High ball 4. So Nepper with his second walk at tonight's ball game. As you look at manager Hal Lanier and pitching coach Les Moss, and the first one was the intentional pass to Murphy back in the 3rd.
Not to belabor the point, Jim, but if the catching produces as it has to this point the rest of the year, between them they'll drive in only 25 runs in 162 games.
I don't think that's going to get it done.
Negative.
Here's Hubbard. He's 1 for 2. Fly ball, center field. Hatcher on the run. Can't catch up with this one. This should clear the bases. 2 runs are in. And Benedict being waved home, and he's in easily. And Glenn Hubbard makes Bob Nepper pay for that base on balls with a bases loaded double. And the Braves now lead it 5-1.
He didn't wait around either. Nepper looked like a slider. He didn't get it in as far as he wanted to, and Hubbard inside outed it over Hatcher's head. There's a big blow.
Oh, and that ball left the bat. It didn't appear that it was going to go to the wall, but Hatcher plays a very shallow center field. Couldn't catch up with it. Here's Zane Smith. And he waves at the breaking ball for strike 1.
When the ball left the bat, I thought it was going to be caught rather easily. Didn't you?
It appeared that way. Like I said, the ball carries here in the Astrodome.
Well, you've proved your point, but I'll be back.
Okay. Fouled out of play, strike 2. So Glenn Hubbard really providing some offense for the Braves. In spring training, it didn't appear that Hubbard was even going to get an opportunity to play after the trade for Damaso Garcia. But Garcia with the arthroscopic knee surgery, missing the first part of the season, and Hubbard has cashed in. Good stop by Ashby. And it's a ball and 2 strikes to Smith. There's a look at the little second baseman. Up in the infield. Pena drifts back and calls off Jose Cruz for out number 3, but the Braves come up with 3 big runs on the bases loaded double by Glenn Hubbard. And at the end of 5.5, they lead the Astros 5-1.
Before we go to the bottom of the 6th, we'd like to welcome all the viewers in the Houston area who are watching our WTBS telecast on Home Sports Entertainment. Skip Carey, Jim Cott with you. Ernie Johnson, Pete Van Wieren over on radio. John Sterling will join us when he can as the Hawks make their way through the NBA playoffs.
And there we see big Charlie Kerfeld beginning to loosen up in the Astro bullpen. After that 3-run double, the Braves take the 5-1 lead. Phil Garner will lead it off in the bottom of the 6th. We just received word that Frank White, the Kansas City second baseman, singled the lead off the 7th inning, and that breaks up Roger Clemens' no-hitter. 0 for 2. With a ground out to third. And a sharp one hopper back to Zane Smith. Outside, ball 1. And misses low, ball 2. Smith with 1 walk and 1 strikeout. Make that 3 strikeouts in the night's activities. But the 1 walk put him in a jam in the bottom of the 5th. That's outside, ball 3. Unless I saw Stello's arm go up on that one. Our scoreboard says 2-1.
You were right.
And he loses him on 4 straight pitches.
That'll make a manager and pitching coach head to the water cooler. You get a fairly substantial lead. The last thing you want is base runners, and the first thing you do is walk a guy. And as disgusted as it makes them, you know how Zane Smith feels about it.
There you're looking at manager Chuck Tanner. And, of course, the most important inning for a starting pitcher in Zane Smith's position is to go out after that 3-run inning and shut down the opposition. Didn't mean to hit that, and he dribbles it into right field for a base hit. So Glenn Davis, it appeared, trying to hold his swing up on the high outside fastball, gets a base hit.
There's the swing, and he was trying to chuck it or maybe to steer it into right field. He just got it by Hubbard. So Houston is knocking at the door again.
Well, it's an amazing how those leadoff walks begin to start things like that. Now we'll get some activity in the Brave bullpen as Kevin Bass steps in. Bass 0 for 2 in tonight's ball game. And Smith gets ahead of him with a breaking ball, strike 1. Jeff Dedman begins to loosen up. Bullpen coach Rich Morales there protecting Dedman. Good block by Benedict. And evens the count at a ball and a strike to Bass. Bass, a .375 hitter this year from the right side of the plate. He's a switch hitter, takes low and away. Benedict wants the appeal from Eric Gregg, and Eric emphatically says no swing.
I didn't think it was a swing either. Let's look at it again. No, I think he stopped it, don't you?
He stopped the wrists. It depends who the umpire is. Sometimes they'll say, well, your bat went over the plate. Who knows? Those calls are like balks. Ground ball. Could be 2 to Hubbard. They got him. Fine double play. Ramirez to Hubbard to Simmons. And Smith has a little breathing room.
At first, I didn't think it was hit hard enough to get 2, but then when Hubbard's in the middle, boy, things happen. He can really turn it.
So a big double play ball for Zane Smith. And he'll now face Jose Cruz. You saw from the graphic there, Cruz 2 for 2 in tonight's ball game, with a double and a run scored. Good sinking fastball. And Smith quickly ahead in the count. No balls, 2 strikes. Grounded towards second. And this should do it. Over to Simmons. And Smith is out of the jam here in the 6th inning. And we've played 6 complete here at the Astrodome. The Braves lead it 5-1. And there you're looking at big Charlie Kerfeld, 6'6", 235-pounder from Carson City, Nevada. And after Bob Nepper went the first 6, allowing all 5 Brave runs, Kerfeld will come on to do the pitching here in the top of the 7th. And to bring you the play-by-play, here's Skip Carey.
Okay, Jim, thank you. Good job as always. Kerfeld has gotten off to a bit of a slow start. You saw his pitching stats. They're not as good as they probably will be when the season is over. Albert Hall, a switch hitter, bats left against the big right-hander. And the 7th inning is underway. Kerfeld, like some of us, his elevator doesn't necessarily stop at every floor. You know?
What a kind way of saying he's a free spirit, or an unkind way?
A kind way is one of my kind of people. There's the slider, down and in, 2 balls and a strike. Aurelio Lopez getting ready now. Last year, Kerfeld was 11-2 with 7 saves and an earned run average of 2.59. He missed low again. It's 3-1. Odd that Lopez would be up as soon as Kerfeld starts pitching. You don't. That's in there. Full count. 3-2. Bob Ojeda got the win for the Mets tonight. They beat the Pirates 9-6. Pittsburgh turned the first triple play of the year in the 9th inning, but that's small solace for them. Payoff pitch to Albert Hall. Looped into left center field. Hatcher on the move. He gets there. 1 out. Well, you saw the play where Hubbard got the triple because he plays somewhat shallow. He saved a double with that positioning.
Boy, and pitchers love to see center fielders that can play shallow. Remember Gary Maddox with the Philadelphia Phillies probably played as shallow and as good a center fielder as anyone did in the National League for years. So that's the benefit of playing shallow. The Hubbard double is what can happen sometimes.
Check swing. He went around 0-1. This is Rafael Ramirez, who's 1 for 3. Right back where it came from. Pena ranges to his left and makes a good play. Kerfeld was falling off the mound toward first base. He couldn't get it, but Pena did.
Good play by Bert Pena right here, throwing on the run. Now watch Glenn Davis on his stretch. See that front foot give way? Back in 1968, before they had turf here and the whole infield was dirt, that stretch right there put Harmon Killebrew out of action for the rest of the season. Tore his hamstring. Very dangerous play for a first baseman.
0-1 the count.
That's why they like to check that ground around the base paths and make sure it's firm footing.
Gary Renicky 0 for 2 with a sacrifice fly. Fastball up and in.
And next close-up of Kerfeld, I want you to tell me who that looks like.
Tom Candiani pitched a shutout for the Indians tonight. They beat Toronto. Humphrey Pennyworth.
I was thinking Jonathan Winters.
Yeah, okay. Either one.
I don't know what kind of slider Jonathan's got.
Certainly not Peter O'Toole.
The 2-1 ground ball. Pena can't get there, and Renicky has his first hit of the night. And Murphy bats with a runner at first and 2 out. He is a funny kid, this Kerfeld.
Well, Hal Lanier might pay attention to you tomorrow in setting his defense. Remember, when we were on the radio side, you mentioned how exaggerated the infield defense was, playing Renicky to pull. Of course, that ground ball went right up the normal shortstop hole for a base hit.
Murphy hits and takes a breaking ball up high. Kerfeld doesn't want that pitch up there. With Murphy, it's not quite as extreme, though the shortstop is still pretty much toward the hole. Oh, what a cut. 1-1 the count.
I like Kurt Simmons' theory, the pitcher with the Philadelphia Phillies back in the 50s. Said Abner Doubleday put him there for a reason. Play him straight away. Maybe a step to pull or a step the other way. Don't get too clever.
The 1-1. Swung and missed. He chased a bad slider, and he knows it. It's a ball and 2 strikes. I think you can overanalyze anything. 1-2 to the Murph. He's hitting .340. Good play by Ashby. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Looks like Kerfeld has let out a notch since Murphy stood in there. Seems to be thrown a little harder.
We mentioned it in passing, but that was an excellent block by Alan Ashby. And earlier in the ball game, we were talking about how he continues to keep the job here as Astro catcher. That's one of the reasons why.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Strike 3 called. Fastball over the inside corner. Kerfeld punches on Murphy. And the inning is over. 1 hit, no run, no errors, a runner left. He just surprised him with a fastball on the inside edge. Bottom half of the 7th inning. The Braves enjoy a 4-run lead.
There's a little shot at Charlie Kerfeld in the dugout. Boy, you got to like him. He's talking to the umpires, teammates, the pitching coach. And if you wonder why Murph put up a little beef on this called strike 3, that's why right there. You see, that's a tough pitch for an umpire to call because of that sinking action right at the last minute. Ashby actually caught it, palm down, which is unusual.
And speaking of Alan Ashby, he'll lead off the bottom of the 7th with the Braves on top 5-1. There's a strike from Zane Smith.
You got to be careful these days, Skip, who you congratulate and for what. I won't leave you hanging for long.
I was just let you dangle there with that one in the pitch. Through there again, 0-2.
Word out of the commissioner's office, Peter Uberoth fined Seattle owner George Argyros $10,000 for calling Larry Boa and congratulating him on a victory earlier in the year.
Up the middle, Ashby continues his good work. I assume that has something to do with the fact he wants to buy the Padres?
It does, and Uberoth had evidently warned Argyros, who was trying to buy the Padres, not to have any more contact. And Argyros did not appeal the fine, so I guess he felt it was worth the 10 grand. The Padres have only won 2. I guess he felt it was worth the money to congratulate him.
I wonder if he has to write out a check for that, or they just put it on his phone bill. Here's Pena, broken back roller, might be 2, 6, 4, 3. And the Braves turn yet another double play.
Right there, you're looking at what a Louisville looks like after the hitter gets hit on the hands. Actually, on the end of the bat, you saw that ball sinking down away in the strike zone. Perfect pitch for Smith. And, of course, the great double play by Ramirez and Hubbard. Same pitch that he gave up the base hit to Alan Ashby. But the percentage is you keep throwing those sinkers low and away, you're going to get your share of ground balls and double plays.
Jim Pankowitz will come on to pinch hit here with 2 out, nobody on. He'll be hitting for Charlie Kerfeld, who worked a shutout inning. Pankowitz, a utility infield. Well, Zane Smith had gone. He hasn't won this game, but he had gone 14 straight starts without a win. So they won one the other night in San Francisco. You know you're going to win one every now and then if they keep sending you out there for one reason or another. If you win 2 in a row, then you really begin to believe in yourself. And the 2-0. 3 balls, no strikes. Pankowitz hitting .333 for the young season as a reserve. At the knees, 3-1.
A couple of efforts like Smith has had Friday night in San Francisco and tonight can really be all he needs to get himself on the way to being the kind of pitcher Braves people think he can be.
Up the middle, Pankowitz has himself a hit. That's 7 hits for the Astros in the top of the order, and Bill Doran will hit. Doran has bounced to third, bounced to second, and he has walked. Deadman up and throwing again in the Atlanta bullpen. Seifert, our director tonight. Glenn Diamond, our producer. Pitch to Dora and drilled into deep left center field. Over goes Renicky. He calls for it, and Albert Hall has it go off his glove. A run is in, and Doran will wind up at third base, and the inning should be over. I guess they couldn't hear each other, but Renicky was in position to make the play.
Well, that's no excuse for Major League outfielders to not hear each other. All it does is point up the fact that Renicky and Hall have not been in the lineup that much. That's you've got to communicate with one another. Perfect example of a lack of communication. You saw Renicky hollering, "I got it," and Albert Hall cut in front of it.
It'll be an error on Albert Hall. So no RBI for Doran. Now suddenly it's a 5-2 game with a runner at third and 2 out. High chop, that might be trouble. Nettles, bare hands, throws. He is safe and a run is in. It's 5-3. They call it a hit.
Good pitch on Zane Smith's part. An AstroTurf hit. Nettles did all he could do. Play that Mike Schmidt's famous for. Bare hand the ball, try to throw it in the same motion, get another look at it.
A perfect throw maybe has him, but they're right to call that a hit. Well, it's 5-3. These 2 runs unearned. All 3 Houston runs have come with 2 out and nobody on base in an inning. Clutch hitter Phil Garner, and he takes the strike.
To go back to that play on the drop fly ball, Skip, that's why it's so important for players to talk with one another before a ball game.
You know, there's an old axiom and a good one in baseball. A center fielder should take everything he can get to, but that's everything he can get to with relative ease. There's Renicky standing there waiting, and Albert, I guess, over trying, moused the play up. Shot toward third, but foul. It's 1-2.
And I don't mean to say that players sit around the clubhouse saying, "Hey, if a fly ball comes out the left center, you know, I'm going to cut in front of you or I'm going to go behind you." But it is so important to communicate pitchers to catchers and infielders and outfielders so you know when the ball is hit. You've got a reasonably good idea of who's going to be in charge of calling for it.
The 1-2, here it is. Runner going outside. Hubbard got there late. He is safe. Very aggressive baseball by Houston.
Billy Hatcher's 6th stolen base of the year. Actually a good pitch for a catcher to throw the ball on, but with Hatcher's speed, you see Benedict right here. Releases it rather quickly, but just not enough on the throw, and Hatcher's in easily.
Now a base hit makes it a 1-run game. The 2-2 pitch. Downstairs, they laid off the breaking ball. It's 3-2. And a home run threat. Glenn Davis is next. The seats. So it's still 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Toughest thing for a young pitcher, or any pitcher for that matter, like Zane Smith right now. You think you're out of the inning, you've been in control of the ball game, and defensive player makes a mistake. You got the meat of the opposition order. Don't lose your aggressiveness. You got to keep on going after it.
The 3-2 to Garner. Strike 3 called at the knees. Garner was on his way to first, but he is punched out of there, and the inning is over. And a big strikeout, just what Jim was talking about. Zane showed you a little grittiness there. 2 unearned runs on 3 hits, 1 error, and a runner left. You go to the 8th inning. Atlanta's lead now 2. Here's a look at your Superstation scoreboard. The Pirates got a triple play, but Bob Ojeda got the win. The Cubbies beating the Cardinals in the 7th are just underway in San Diego. Mario Soto starting that game for Cincinnati. That's might be a very important one for that team, and the Dodgers and Giants will meet later in the American League. You don't see the important one there. Roger Clemens has a one-hitter going. Joe Niekro got the win for the Yankees. Tom Candiotti the shutout for Cleveland. The White Sox with a 7-0 advantage trying to end that Milwaukee streak. Simmons turns around and hits left-handed against Aurelio Lopez and looks at a fastball right in there. Senor Smoke is his nickname. 0-2. Don't forget Friday night, the first 25,000 fans with a reserved seat ticket receive Braves calendar compliments of Oscar Mayer. And the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile and Little Oscar, their mascot, will add to the festivities at the taxi stand from 4 till 5. Popped up, foul territory. Ashby gives it a look. He has no shot. It lands on the Atlanta dugout. Dave Smith throwing in the Houston bullpen. And that Wienermobile and Little Oscar will take part in pregame activities inside the stadium. Jim, I'll be in Portland, so you take notes on that. Let me know how it goes, okay?
I'll give you a little recap when you get back.
Okay, or a hubcap or whatever. Better than that, a nightcap. 0-2 is the count to Ted Simmons.
Saw that foul pop Simmons hit over by the Brave dugout. St. Louis might consider a railing in front of theirs after what happened to John Tudor in Sunday's game with Met catcher Barry Lyons trying to chase a pop-up just like that.
Fly ball, well hit right field, but it'll die here in the Astrodome.
Yeah, okay, one for you.
Bass has it, one away. Here's Craig Nettles, 1 for 3.
And to follow through on that, in case some of our viewers are not relating to that story, Met catcher Barry Lyons running full tilt toward the Cardinal dugout, chasing a foul pop in Sunday afternoon's game, landed on their ace left-hander John Tudor, landed right on his right leg, broke a bone, and Tudor may miss the season.
Nettles is 1 for 3. The slider is down and in. We have a correction on that White Sox score. The original report had it 7-0, but they changed it now to 5-0 as they go to the 8th. So Milwaukee not in good shape, but they got a shot, I guess.
Boy, that's how good the Brewers are going. They're playing so well, they take runs off the opposition score.
3-0 to Nettles. They turned him loose 3-0, and he went for the pump, but fouled it away. Laurie Burns, Hal Golema handling our graphics here tonight. Teresa Bush is our associate director. 3-2. Nettles wasn't taking there. He was looking for a certain pitch in a certain spot and didn't get it, and thus took it. Now he'll go to Hackett. The 3-2. Fastball, foul back.
I'll tell you, that 3-1 pitch, Skip, is the kind of pitch, and that's the adjustment Nettles is going to try to make here in Atlanta. If he's playing every day, that 3-1 pitch is the one he unloads on. A little different role now, not getting as many at-bats, and that affects your, your reactions at the plate.
Lopez with the payoff. 1 out, nobody on. Almost hit him with that. So Nettles draws a 1-out walk. And Bruce Benedict stands it. Lopez is from Tecamachalco, Mexico.
I'm glad you took that one.
That's Tecamachalco. And he now lives lives in Laredo, Texas, and I'm delighted that he's made that decision in his life. Last year was 3-3 at Houston, a 3.46 earned run average. Appeared in 45 games. Anderson and Smith in the bullpen for the Astros. Garber and Assenmacher heating up for Atlanta. Benedict looks at a strike, 0-1. Hubbard is next. Lopez, a much-traveled performer. The first 10 years of his career was all in the Mexican League. Since then, he's been with St. Louis, Detroit, and now Houston. He is 39 years old, according to the Houston press guy. 1-1 the count.
Said that like there was a little doubt in your mind.
We do not. We just report the news. We do not editorialize, except every now and then. The 1-1 pitch out, nothing doing, and he almost threw it to the screen.
Nettles got a little smile on his face. I mean, if there's one thing the Braves lack in their lineup tonight is speed. And I'm sure they were probably looking for a hit and run with Benedict and tried the pitch out.
They've recorrected that score now. It's White Sox 7-1. They do go hit and run, but Benedict fouls it up. In the top of the 8th, the White Sox lead the Brewers 7-1.
That's good percentage there on the part of Chuck Tanner. We joke a little about the lack of speed in the Brave lineup tonight, but after a pitch out, very few managers pitch out twice in a row. So once Lopez pitched out, I'm sure Tanner said, okay, now let's try the hit and run.
Let's see what they do. 2-2. Not running. Chopped foul. It's still 2 balls, 2 strikes. The adults bring their gloves to try to catch foul balls here in Houston. Drilled foul. Assenmacher and Garber cover up in the Atlanta bullpen.
Well, that's an important position in some of these visiting bullpens. That's Charlie Paleo there that picked that ground ball. Ever since they've moved the bullpens from behind the outfield fence, which is where they were for about 50 years, to the sidelines, somebody's got to be down there to protect the pitchers and catchers.
The 2-2 fouled away again. Pretty good duel here between Lopez and Benedict.
It's taken a lot of fun out of the game for bullpen pitchers, because those bullpens where you could sit behind the outfield wall, you could relax a little more. Now you're right out in front of the entire crowd, even warming up in front of them.
Terry Forster used to always find a way to get a touch. Fly ball center field. Hatcher will back up. He broke his bat on that. He still hit it pretty well. 2 out. And here's Hubbard, who is 2 out of 3, including a 3-run double. Lopez broke into pro baseball 20 years ago in 1967. Nettles at first, 2 out. Nobody has come on deck for Atlanta. Now Ken Griffey marches out of the Atlanta dugout. I surmise he would pinch hit for Zane Smith next. Despite the 5-3 lead. Good slider there. 1-1.
I think the last few innings will dictate that. Of course, the last one, not Smith's doing. It was the drop fly ball, but he has been in a tough spot in the 5th and then again in the 7th.
That's out of play. And the advantage goes to the pitcher. He's ahead 1-2.
If there's one thing Chuck Tanner will do with a young pitcher, and in my particular case, he did it with a veteran pitcher in Chicago, but when a guy like Zane Smith is trying to get some confidence and get a few wins under his belt, he will not allow him to lose this ball game. He's going to take him out where he has an opportunity to have a good performance and a win.
Well, the worst he can have is the no decision. Fly ball down the right field line. It is twisting foul. Bass on the run. He can't get there. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Milwaukee still batting in the 8th. Trailing 7-1 to the White Sox. Ron Darling finally got his first win of the year. He's been plagued by no decisions the last couple of years. Back to the mound off the bare hand of Lopez. Good play, and he throws him out. And the inning is over. No hits, no runs, no errors, 1 left. We go to the bottom half of the 8th inning. Braves 6 outs away from victory. Oberkfell checks into the game to play third base for Atlanta as we go to the bottom half of the 8th inning. Jeff Dedman is on to pitch for the Braves. Smith went 7 innings, allowed 8 hits, 3 runs, only 1 of them earned. He struck out 4, he walked 2. Dedman throws a strike. So Jeff with a chance to record his first save here if he pitches impressively. Squibbed on the first base line. Simmons dives, throws to the pitcher covering. Great play, 1 out. A great play by Simmons and a good play by Dedman. I hope he didn't twist an ankle there. 1 away.
Well, you talk about great play. I mean, look at this ball sliced down the right field line, and Teddy Simmons, not accustomed to playing there, he smothers it. Now watch this. I mean, he throws a seed knee-high to Dedman, and he comes up with the ball. Another angle right there. I mean, Teddy's just saying, hey, I got to get rid of this baby as quick as I can. Too many guys catch that ball knee-high on the run.
I don't mean to laugh, but knowing Simmons, I just can't wait to talk to him about that play after the game.
We may hear about that for a few days, not just after tonight's game.
Kevin Bass looks at a strike that's 0-1. Ossenmacher and Garber ready if needed. Larry Anderson continues to throw for the Astros. It's outside, and it's 1-1.
I was just about to point out before that play that Obie at third base in place of Greg Nettles. Probably have to go back about 20 years before Greg Nettles was taken out for defense.
That's a good point. The 1-1 pitch. Tap towards second. Hubbard on a short hop. 2 out.
Greg and I were teammates in Minnesota early in his career. He actually was traded to Cleveland because Minnesota felt that he was not going to be an adequate third baseman. You know, one of those cases where you make 1 error and they label you a bad defensive player.
Jose Cruz stands in there. Now Terry Poole limbering up in the bullpen for the Houston team. Screwball tapped to third. Oberkfell checks in and throws him out, and you can't have an easier inning than did Jeff Dedman in the bottom of the 8th. Go to the 9th with the score. Braves 5, Astros 3. At 11:30 Eastern time tonight, join Jim Huber and Nick Charles for CNN Sports Tonight. Boy, that's a terrific program. They'll have highlights of this game, of the Brewers-White Sox game, details from all the baseball action, and also round 2 of the National Hockey League Stanley Cup playoffs. Charles and Huber tonight at 11:30 Eastern time on Cable News Network. Terry Poole checks into the game to play left field. He'll bat 9th for Houston. Larry Anderson on to do the pitching, and Ken Oberkfell in the 9th spot on the Atlanta order will lead it off against him. Lopez won an inning of shutout baseball, walking 1. Anderson, another guy who's been around a while, since 1971 in pro ball, with Cleveland, Seattle, the Phillies, and now Houston. Was 2-1 last year as a long man, a 2.78 earned run average. Inside, 1 ball, no strikes. They're in the 9th now. Milwaukee up for their final at bat. The White Sox lead 7-1. Ball and a strike to Overcroft. Lifetime Anderson against Atlanta 0-3. Line fouled on the third base line. He just missed a double. 2-2 the count.
Remember John Stupor, Skip?
Oh yeah, one of my favorite names in all of baseball.
Pitched for the Cardinals, later for the Reds, former teammate of mine and pupil.
Everybody is a former teammate of yours.
He's going after a record. Kind of like to see him get it. He now coaches for Point Park College in Pittsburgh. And they are 1 game shy of breaking the national record for consecutive wins by a college team. They've won 34 straight.
Wow. The 2-2. Line, left field, base hit. Oberkfell breaks in with a hit. I don't know if Premier Gorbachev ever played baseball, but if he did, he wound up on a team with you somewhere along the line. Here's Albert Hall. Ball out of Birmingham, Alabama. 33 straight. Well, that's strike to Hall. He was going to bunt. Not too shabby. 5-9-1 for the Braves. 3-8-0 for Houston. In the 9th, the Astros have Ashby Pena and Terry Poole scheduled. He bunts. Garner has only 1 play to make, and that's the first. Good job by Hall. It's a 5-4 sacrifice.
Good execution by Albert Hall, and Chuck Tanner playing for that 1 more run. You see, Garner had thoughts of going to second. They took the sure out. Big difference going into that 9th inning with a 3-run lead versus a 1 or a 2-run lead. Of course, that's been a problem for the Braves is late innings in the recent games.
Just had a quick glance in the Atlanta dugout of Mike Fichlin, who's rejoined the team from their Richmond farm club. Ramirez fouls it away to the right. It's 0-1. Tomorrow night we'll be with you at 8:30. David Palmer against Jim Deshaies. Thursday night's game will be on a delayed basis following an NBA playoff doubleheader. Breaking ball is in there, and quickly Raphael is behind in the count 0-2.
Houston very similar to San Francisco in that their bullpen very difficult to score on. They've got 3 or 4 deep with Anderson, Kerfeld, Dave Smith, of course, being the ace.
Back to the mound. He's got Oberkfell. Oh, wild throw. It'll score a run. What a break. They had him dead to rights. Ramirez will wind up at second. He would have been a dead man at third, but the aggressive base running pays off in a run. It's an error on Anderson.
Little chopper out toward the mound, and see Anderson just throws off balance. Boy, in spring training as a pitcher, you spend all kinds of time taking that little crow hop, getting your body on balance, and being able to make an accurate throw. The only thing that caused that, as Hal Lanier looks on, is just throwing before your body is set off balance. Still had plenty of time.
A great break for Atlanta. Renicky the batter. Gary is 1 for 3 with a sacrifice fly, driving in his first Atlanta run. A little more insurance couldn't hurt. Now a pitcher, Anderson, of course, is a veteran, but You can pitch around another guy's mistakes. You figure that's part of baseball. But when you make the error, it must be doubly tough because you've cut your own throat. Maybe it's bothering him. He's behind 3-0, and he's got to face Dale Murphy next.
Well, and actually with one out, he could have taken the sure out at first base.
Even there, he's in better shape than he is now. On 4 straight, Renicky is on. Now Atlanta has a chance for a big inning. Here's Murphy, who has homered, walked, singled, and been called out on strikes.
Clarify that point a little. Of course, with nobody out, it's much more important for that pitcher to cut down the runner at third, because there he can score on a sacrifice fly or a little chopper in the infield, any number of ways. But with 2 out, not quite as important to go for that out at third base.
And yet on that play, I think you agree with me, you can't blame him for anything except the execution, because he would have had him. Murphy had a good cut, fouled it away, 0-1. Anderson out of Portland, Oregon, makes his home now in Redmond, Washington. Curve missed low and away. A ball and a strike. Dodgers failed to score in the first at San Francisco. Cincinnati bats in the third. They trail the Padres 1-0. It's over for the Brewers. Their streak is ended at 13. The White Sox beat them 7-1. There are your runners. Ramirez at second and Renicky at first. The 2-1 pitch. Curve corked into center field, but Hatcher should get it. Ramirez will tag. Here's the catch. Ramirez will come over, and they're on the corners with 2 out. For Ted Simmons. Simmons is 0 for 4. Some of the fans have headed for home here.
Yeah, I was surprised at that at the end of the bottom of the 8th inning, right after Cruz hit the ground ball to third base, many of them headed for the exit.
I will say, though, the traffic here is probably worse than anywhere in the U.S. 0-1. I guess not at this time of the night. Boy, rush hour, it is a monster here.
He's checking it out. He's checking it out.
He went around. It's 0-2, so Anderson quickly out in front.
Except if you're an Astro fan, you got to believe this club very capable of coming back in the late innings like they've done so often.
Well, we're televising it in the Houston area, so they're rushing off to hear that. Strike 3 called to Simmons. He can't believe that. We'll let you look at it again as we go out. The Braves pick up an insurance run, and they lead 6-3. We'll be back. Well, the Braves 3 outs away from victory. Paul Ossenmacher, Gene Garber in the Atlanta bullpen, just in case. Alan Ashby will lead it off, then Craig Reynolds will pinch hit for Bert Pena, and then Terry Poole will hit in the 9th inning. Dedman got him 1-2-3 in the 8th without a ball leaving the infield. Ashby is 2 out of 3. He has driven in one of the Houston runs. 6-3 Atlanta the score. At the knees, 0-1. 14,602 the paid attendance here. There's Craig Reynolds on deck. Outside, it's 1-1. Deep right field. Murphy looks up. He's at the wall. epitomizes Jeff Dedman. Ashby's first of the year. He's 3 out of 4. Well, now Chuck Tanner's got a decision to make, doesn't he? It looked like that knuckle curveball. It broke a little, but not very much, and Ashby just hit the daylights out of it. Barber and Ossenmacher are ready if needed, and here comes Tanner. And he makes his move right now to his bullpen. It'll be Paul Ossenmacher. Craig Reynolds has been announced here, I think. But maybe not. He heads back to the dugout. And Mark Bailey, it looks like, has grabbed a bat. Well, Ossenmacher will be the pitcher. And it looks like Mark Bailey will be the batter. We'll be back right after this. There's the story on Paul Ossenmacher. Meanwhile, Bailey is batting .200, but as a right-hand hitter, he's hitting .286. 2 out of 7. Bailey out of Springfield, Missouri, stands in there. He made this team as a non-roster player this spring. Nobody on or out. It's a 2-run lead again. Breaking ball just missed from Ossenmacher. 1 ball, no strikes. That's in there. It's 1-1. Bailey was the Houston catcher in 1984 and 85. Played a lot for them. Last year wound up at Tucson. And he's in the hole here, 1-2. There's the breaking ball again on the inside corner. The crowd boos, but that was a strike. The 1-2 pitch. Just missed that same spot. Ossenmacher thought he had him struck out. It's 2-2. He came back with the same pitch. A breaking ball just missed inside. Now live, the 2-2. That's it, a breaking ball again. Bailey is called out on strike. Here's Terry Poole. All we can do is guess up here, but I'm guessing that Tanner made his move when he did because he would rather see Bailey face Ossenmacher than see the left-hand hitter Reynolds face Dedman. We won't know till later tonight. Well, here's Terry Poole off to a slow start, batting just .188. Veteran outfielder who's been hampered by injuries. Fouled off at home plate. It's 0-1. They only had 17,000 in Chicago tonight as the White Sox beat the Brewers 7-1. You'd think a lot of folks would have driven the 90 miles from Milwaukee. Joel Davis got the win. So the Brewers have tied the 82 Braves for most wins at the start of a year. Did he go? Doug Harvey says no. A ball and a strike to Poole, the top of the order, and Bill Doran is next. Fastball on the outside corner. A ball and 2 strikes. The hits are even at 9. Where it counts at 6-4 Atlanta. Missed the outside corner with the fastball. It's 2-2. Smith low. Full count. Now you just want to throw a strike. Let your defense help you. A walk brings a tying run to the plate. The payoff pitch. Strike three called outside corner, and Poole knew it. Good pitch by Assenmacher. A money pitch. Breaking ball on the outside edge. It wound up outside, but it crossed the plate, a strike. And Poole just turned his back and walked away. Assenmacher has to go one more mile. Here's Doran. Just missed inside. 1 ball, no strike. It's 1-1. Deshays and Palmer tomorrow. Good breaking ball, but he missed with it. 2 balls and a strike. Hot hitting Billy Hatcher, who has 11 RBIs on the year, would be next. Two balls and a strike. Let up low. It's 3-1. Gene Garber is looking on. The 3-1 pitch. The tying run comes to the plate. And here comes Chuck Tanner. And the walk may have cost, it has cost Assenmacher a save opportunity. The Atlanta manager will go to Gene Garber here. It'll be Garber against Hatcher. Hatcher has 2 homers. He has 11 RBIs, one of them tonight. We'll see what happens. We don't have an easy one, do we? We'll see what happens when we come back right after this. Gene Garber completes, rather, not retreats, but completes his warm-up toss. David Palmer and Jim Deshays tomorrow night. We'll have it for you at 8:30 Eastern Time. Came up in the Cubs organization. Played a little in '84, not enough to matter. A little more in '85, and a lot for Houston last year. He came over in December of '85 along with Steve Engel for Jerry Mumphrey. That turned out to be a very good deal for Houston because Hatcher is so young. He's just 26 years old. Ed Olwine, Charlie Puleo in the Atlanta bullpen. Hatcher 1 for 4. Doran at first, 2 out. Change, little bloop. Hubbard can't get it. Base hit. The tying runs are on for the veteran Phil Garner. He made a good pitch on it, but he got just enough of it off the end of the bat to drop it into short right. Well, Hatcher hadn't seen that much of Garner, rather of Garber, but this guy, Phil Garner, has. They're on the corners. Hatcher at first with a tying run. Fastball out the knees, 0-1. Career against the Braves. Garner at .259 with 6 homers, 44 RBIs. Oh, and 1 the count. Throw to first. Hatcher goes diving back. would be next. The winning run is at first. He just hit the daylights out of that change of pace. You saw Hall sort of retreating there. If he charges, maybe he catches that ball. Maybe. But if he charges and misses on the AstroTurf, it goes by him to the wall, and Houston wins the game. Has bounced to second, flied to center, singled to right, and bounced to first. He has not tried to pull the ball all night long. Bouncing ball, it is foul, 0-1. Dennis Menke makes the play, the Astros third base coach. Dave Smith is suddenly up again in their bullpen. The folks who left early tonight are missing some finish. The change is low and away, 1-1. Carries the tying run at third. Garner the winning run at first. The runner going. Line, center field. High game. Garner is at third. It's 6-6. And the Braves cannot close the deal. Great piece of base running there by Garner. They had ignored him. He was going to get into scoring position no matter what happened. Now he's at third. The Braves led by 2 with 2 out and nobody on in this inning. Now the winning run is 90 feet away against them. There'll be a play thus at every base. The only run that means anything anymore is the one that Garner carries at third base. Well, our bullpen, folks. Dedman pitched a perfect 8th, gave up a leadoff homer in the 9th. Ossenmacher struck out 2, then walked 1. Garber has given up 3 straight hits and now a walk. He's 2 out of 10 on the year. They're on their feet here in Houston as they should be. What a comeback for their club. One ball, no strikes. 3 of them after 2 were out and nobody was on. And the Braves have been unable to hold a late inning lead for the 3rd straight game. Final score, Houston 7, Atlanta 6. Totals and highlights right after this. This is the last of 5 hits that, coupled with 2 walks, gave Houston a 4-run 9th inning and a 7-6 victory over the Atlanta Braves. Your totals for Houston: 7 runs, 13 hits, 1 error. They left 8. For Atlanta, 6 runs, 9 hits, 1 error. The Braves left 9. Larry Anderson in relief. The winner, he's 2-0. Gene Garber in relief. The loser, 2-2. Denny Walling, the game-winning RBI, his first of the year. 14,602 paid to see the action. And if the Braves bullpen doesn't pitch better than this, it's going to be a long summer in Atlanta. The movie presentation may be as aptly titled tonight. Rage is the movie. Coming along next, Glenn Ford will star. For our TBS crew, for Ernie Johnson, Pete Van Weeren, and for Jim Katt and John Sterling. Skip Carey from the Astrodome. Tough night. So long, everybody.